Watch Boxing Bros UK, top channel.
He's going to be my new dad. Yes. So with Lonely Stoner podcast, and all I've got to say is, Usyk, karma is a bitch. This is what happens when you cherry pick, motherfucker. Unlucky. That's all I got to say. I've never been more happy to be wrong about how a fight's going to go. And I do believe karma's a bitch, and then you marry one like Usyk, you got how you deserve to for thinking that you can cherry pick a guy who's not a real boxer and have that fight instead of fighting Wardley, Caballero, or whatever. You got what you deserved. That's my little rant that I've got to start the video off with. Firstly, we're going to start with Usyk.
Yeah.
Why was he so shit?
Honestly, looking at the fight, even seeing him coming into the fight, he looked a bit softer around the body. You know, just when they were doing the introductions, he looked a bit softer. But, you know, Rico was a handful for him. Like you said, you know, he cherry-picked him. I definitely thought it'd be a soft touch. But Rico really exceeded expectations here. And he was a handful for Usyk. You know, he closed the distance, he applied pressure, he worked the body, he snuck in big shots early. And honestly, he snuck in big shots throughout the fight. We'll talk about it as we get into it. But a great performance from Rico, and Usyk really caught life. But Usyk definitely showed flashes as well, though. There was definitely times throughout that fight where, yeah, Rico was being awkward and closing the distance. But throughout the fight, Usyk did a good job at sort of controlling exchanges at times. And on the back end of exchanges, landing shots to keep Rico honest a bit. I think the commentators for the fight, when they did the scorecards, I think they were a bit harsh on Usyk. They were giving every round to Rico. I don't think it was that dominant. I think Rico definitely exceeded expectations. But it wasn't like he was steamrolling Usyk, in my opinion. Like, Usyk was remaining in control of the boxing exchanges, even though I guess it can look like he's not, because he's giving up ground and Rico's coming forward. But we know, we've watched boxing for years now, just because a guy's going forward doesn't necessarily mean he's winning the exchange either. And Usyk is a good counter puncher. That being said, Rico was definitely ahead, in my opinion, and deserved to go on to win the fight. We'll talk about the stoppage later on, but crazy night.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there.
Go on.
Obviously, I watched. I've only seen it once. I haven't watched it back like properly, and where I might have been fallen under the spell of where Rico was supposed to have no chance, and he did so well. So I do need to watch it again. But from what I seen, like, Usyk wasn't controlling. I don't think he was controlling the fight, and I don't think he was like normally. Like, he wins in the end of the exchanges, but I didn't really. I seen Usyk missing a lot. I seen him not losing his jab, missing his counter punching, the uppercut that he knocked him down with.
Yes,
he missed. He was throwing that shot all night, and he kept missing. Like, his timing was completely off. I don't think he can. I think Rico controlled, because even though he was busier, and normally Usyk like wins rounds with his accuracy, that wasn't there because he was missing. So I just my scorecard, I gave Usyk round 4, round 10, and I gave the rest to Rico.
Yeah,
that's how I scored it. Like, I think Usyk was just, it was terrible. You know, you say like he looked a bit mushy.
Yeah.
I've been watching boxing a long time.
Yeah.
This is my assessment. He was out of shape. And I don't just mean like a bit overweight. I mean, he didn't train. I'm telling you now, Usyk did not train for that fight properly. He didn't. His feet were slow. His timing was off. And like, when you're training, even if you don't fight for a year, if you're training in proper training camp, your timing won't be that shit. Especially from someone like Usyk. Do you know what I mean? And it will take it. And someone like Usyk, after 3 or 4 rounds, he'll knock off the cobwebs and the ring rust. And he didn't do that. That tells me that Usyk didn't really. I reckon Usyk didn't even bother training for this fight and just win. That's what I believe. I don't believe all the excuses that was made for him, like, oh, father times come early, or it's an unorthodox style. That is BS. Do you know what style that Rico was doing? That's Usyk's style. So that's Usyk's style. Constantly fighting, constantly moving. That's Usyk's style. Do you know what I mean?
It is, but Rico's nowhere near as polished as Usyk is, and that's to Rico's benefit as well.
Yeah,
Rico was scrappy. Like, actually, he was applying pressure, feinting all the time. And even though some of Rico's punches weren't, you know, beautiful punches, they were scrappy, he was in the mix with them. He did sneak in, like I said earlier, he did sneak in some clean shots on Usyk, and you don't see guys really land on Usyk like that too much. You know what it reminded me of in terms of Usyk fights? It reminded me of the Derek Chisora fight.
Yeah.
Where you've got a guy in there who's going in there, closing the distance, making it scrappy, he's a bit bigger than you, he's trying to weigh you down. But in my opinion, there's a reason why you don't fight like that against Usyk, because you can't really keep it up for 12 rounds. And we saw, even come the 10th round, Rico slowed down a lot and he was a lot more hittable. And the 11th, he gets stopped. Now, we can talk about the stoppage because I do think it was...
We'll get to that later. Usyk just, he finally got the ring rust off and got his timing back in the 11th.
Yeah.
After terribly missing. I know that's not the strategy to beat it, but he was winning, I believe. I think he was, on this occasion, it was the right strategy because Usyk's counter-punching wasn't, he was just terrible. Missing it, I've never seen him miss so many punches, and I've never seen him being hit and like practically running away on the back foot, like where he's getting filled in, that had to take back steps, tuck up, go on the ropes.
Well, remember, Daniel Dubois put him on his ass. Well, no, he took a knee against Dubois.
No, that was a low blow.
Oh, yeah.
It was a low blow. He didn't take a knee.
Yeah.
Usyk's never touched canvas at heavyweight, not once.
Yeah,
never. He's never touched canvas, but it's because he don't get hit.
It's true.
At least Usyk showed he had a chin, but it's just the thing is you are undisputed best man. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
and you. No matter what we can say, the fact of the matter is this is this guy's first boxing match ever. He did a tournament where he did like some white collar shit where he fought three rounders in the same day. Yeah, 10 years ago. So you can't really count that. So this guy has never had a boxing match under the light ever, and you did that. We'll leave Usyk alone because we could just sit here going into one about that.
Yeah.
Facts of the matter is, what do you think? Do you think that he trained and he's just and do you think, before we leave Usyk, do you think it's father time because he is 39? Do you think fuck me, he's just fucked now? He's just too old, and that's why he was taking this fight because he don't want to fight those guys anymore, Wardley, because he knows he's too old and he ain't got it on no more. Or do you think he didn't train? What do you reckon?
You know what? The more I think about it, the more I think about the fight, and the more I remember the stuff and the sort of interviews that Usyk's been given, it does feel like his father time catching up with him. Because you see in interviews, he doesn't really talk about the guys like Wardley. He talks about rematching Tyson Fury, who's another guy who's over the hill, right?
Or Wilder.
Or Wilder. Just guys over the hill. Like, arguably, Usyk's a guy at this point, even though throughout his career, he's never really taken tons of damage, he's got miles on the clock. Hundreds of amateur fights, an entire undisputed run at cruiserweight, another undisputed run at heavyweight too. It's impossible. I don't care who you are. No one remains at the top forever. Unless you're like Floyd. But even Floyd keeps coming back, whatever. At heavyweight as well. No one stays at the top forever. I think, and 39... for a guy who's been boxing his entire life, is tons of miles on the clock. I do think Usyk's he's definitely on the back end of his career and has got more fight behind him than he's got ahead of him, for sure.
That we're leaving that there. Why Usyk was so shit. So right. The thing about Rico is, that I already knew, he had a side hustle because Peter Fury's been his striking coach for years, and he's been a sparring partner for many elite level boxers for about 10, 15 years. People like when Dylan White was at the top in their prime, Fury. So I'm just going to share this interview and just to show people that this ain't Ngannou. Like Rico's not Ngannou. I hope the casuals might not know. Well, he has got some actual boxing talent. Do you know what I mean? It's not like Ngannou. Like next time Rico has a boxing match, it's gonna get ironed out. I don't see that happening.
Do you know what? As I said, I give Rico a real chance. He's a real fighter, isn't he? So I'm looking forward to it. I know he's been putting in the work. So we spoke off camera. And you said basically Peter Fury's been his striking coach for about 10 years. He knows what he's doing as a boxer in the boxing ring, just throwing hands. Yeah, 100%. And I said kickboxing and boxing. Yeah, they are different sports, but as I said, he's got to use his hands in both of them. So, and he was more of a dominant boxer as opposed to kickboxer when he was kickboxing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. Do you know Matty Harris said?
I can't say I do. No, I don't know him.
So he's Peter Fury's like young heavyweight. I think he's signed with Queensbury. Yeah.
Okay.
Watch out for this kid, and I'm going to put a card for this full interview. So this is very interesting, where we can find out some details about Rico.
Can you give us any details, like, has Van Heerden sparred any actual boxers and held his own and done well, that you can say? Because obviously you trained in the same gym as him for years. No, I'm not giving you any details. Names of any awesome high-profile names, but you don't have to tell us. The stuff that's out online. He's been in there, Italian South. He's been in there with Tyson Fury, Ajit Caballero. The list goes on. He was training with Dylan White for a while. There's a long list of top-level fighters, top-level boxers that he's been in there with and held his own with. So
you see there, because obviously he's got a great engine, Seth. Like, in the background, he's been a guy who's held his own in sparring. as a side hustle while he's dominating kickboxing against these elite, but he's never done it under the lights. And the first time he did, look what he's done, which I think is absolutely amazing. Props to him. What do you make of that? Because obviously you obviously don't know Matty Harris. What do you think about that information? Does it surprise you, or
you know what? It doesn't surprise me too much because I'm familiar with Rico Verhoeven. I'm familiar with his kickboxing career. I know he's an experienced guy, one of the best heavyweight kickboxers ever. He's been at the top of the game for years, and like you said, he's no Francis Ngannou. And going from kickboxing to boxing is a lot easier than going from MMA to boxing. Especially like Matty Harris says, a Rico Verhoeven style. He is a boxing heavy kickboxer. I knew exactly what he meant when he said that. But again, to go in there and go 11 rounds with Usyk is a big jump from being a sparring partner. Again, it's great experience, and he's shown that clearly that experience counted for something because he's gone on to have an amazing performance against Usyk. Exceeded expectations in that way for sure. But I definitely didn't think he was going to go out there and get beaten from pillar to post like the way Francis did against AJ. I thought it was definitely going to be far more like Francis v Tyson than Francis v AJ, if that makes sense.
yeah. I thought it was going to be Mayweather McGregor kind of thing where and it was just the total opposite.
Verhoeven's way more experienced than those guys.
Yeah, that's it. And this is a little insight that I didn't realize, guys. He's been working on his boxing all year because obviously Peter Fury's Matty Harris's coach, right? And Rico is a smart, and Hughie Fury and Rico, they're all in there sparring each other. They've been doing it the whole time, all for the past year, getting ready for this moment.
Are you going to be one of his sparring partners preparing him for this fight? I've not heard it. He says, I already haven't been.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
I already haven't been. That tells me that they've been in the lab. Like Peter Fury has been in the lab making the perfect heavyweight for 10, 15 years just to unleash him at the right moment. Well, it's not that deep, but it's behind the scenes. They've been working on this already.
I expect nothing less from them because, like I said, Rico's top professional, top guy in the kickboxing scene. And like I said, you've heard his name in the boxing scene behind the scenes. Like I said, with Dillian White, with Tyson Fury, Joseph Parker, Peter Fury being involved in those guys' camps. So yeah.
And then another theory of mine that I just want to put to you.
Yeah.
So here's another fun fact. Remember when Fury was fighting Usyk and the fight got postponed?
Yes.
Rico's the guy that fucking split his eye open in sparring.
Oh, bloody hell. I didn't know that. Yeah, there you
know
go.
what I'm saying?
Doesn't it?
How fucked up is that?
Yeah.
And then Rico was in every camp for Fury while he was preparing for Usyk, yeah? So imagine, for like nearly 2 years, Rico's been having to mimic Usyk for Fury in the thing. And then now, the guy that he's been studying and trying to copy and emulate, he's fighting against, and Usyk was out of shape, didn't train, looked fucking dog shit, that in my opinion. Might be father time, but I don't know. I don't think so. I just think Usyk didn't train and thought it was going to be easy. And where Rico he knows everything about Usyk because he's been in the Fury camp and he had to mimic Usyk for Fury in sparring, that style. And then you've seen it in the ring. It was Usyk style, like feinting with your whole body, your lateral movement, your head, your arms, your legs, everything. So your eyes can't hit where your eyes can't see. He was never a stationary target, so Usyk could never land clean. And that's what Usyk does to everybody else. Bamboozles them with movement, but keeps on working. And
Very true.
That's my theory why Rico was so good, because he knows Usyk inside out because of those training camps. And when he under the lights, he just did exactly what he did in the gym, and it gave them hell. So my next question to you: what do you think of the stoppage? Too early? Wrong?
Far too early. Far too early. He got dropped with a clean shot. It was an uppercut. That dropped him. That was clean. That, knocked his gum shield out. I think you should give the guy a chance to put the gum shield back in if you're sending him back in there to fight. But I know Usyk probably wants to get straight back in there and get rid of him, get him out of there. But he recovers, gets back to his feet, and then Usyk goes in for the kill, lands a few clean shots. But Rico wasn't done, in my opinion. Now,
the klaxon went just before, as soon as Rico got up, the klaxon went, so you knew there was 10 seconds left.
Yeah, ref was far too trigger happy there. And I'm not a fan of necessarily letting guys go out on their shield, purely because I don't think if a guy's done and he's pretty much done, there's no need for extra brain damage just to say, quote unquote, he went out on his shield. But I don't think Rico was done yet. I think he was wobbled a bit. He was definitely hurt. He'd just been dropped. But I think he could have survived that round and deserved the chance to show that he really could have survived that as well. Because Usyk just landed a couple shots and the referee was in there like a shot and called it off. I think it was far too early.
I think as well, and where a lot of people are taking the stance like, well, if the ref didn't do that, like boxing is disgraced. That's why I'm just trying to like double down on. If Usyk lost his fight, it's not a disgrace because it's just a really, really good boxer who's never fought under the lights in the ring. That's what Rico is. Yeah. Like not really good, but he's got good boxing skills and a great engine and whatever, but he's just never been in the ring. And there are guys out there that are exceptional fighters, but they just never done it under the lights, and they could just go under the lights and they could smash anyone.
And he's a world-class kickboxer too. It's not like he's a guy who's never been under the lights. He's been under the lights many times, actually. You know, you can imagine tens, literally dozens and dozens of world championship kickboxing matches. Just never in the boxing realm he's been under the lights, but definitely been under the lights. It would have been one of the biggest upsets in terms of like name and resume. But like you said, in terms of skill, this guy, in my opinion, could mix it with the top heavyweights.
For sure.
Definitely over 12 rounds could mix it with the top heavyweights.
Yeah.
So deserves to be there.
Yeah, 100% he could. He should be in the mix. For me, the stoppage was 100% too early. Number one, like, I know, because a lot of people are saying, like, he got dropped heavy. He spat his gum shield out, obviously, because he was fucked. He needed more time. At the end of the day, that's an old pro trick, yeah? Everyone fucking spits their gum shield out.
Exactly.
Like, it's one of them things, yeah? He only did it once. It was round 11. He was running the clock down because he was hurt. Experience. You see this guy, honestly, Rico, bro?
Honestly, yeah.
And the ref stopped it. There was only 2 seconds left in the round.
Wow.
Right? There's no save by the bell rule. So if you get knocked down at the bell, you'll have to give him a count. If he stayed on his feet, and didn't get knocked down again, he did. There's no need to stop it if there's no save by the bell rule. It was just too early. I know a lot of fighters are coming out defending Usyk because they feel like they feel like if Usyk didn't win, like it would have been just as bad as what Fury did against Ngannou. Like taking an L. And I don't believe that. I wish people wouldn't have that mentality. Had the bell gone, if he was still on his feet, let him get back to his stool. So my next question to you is, Seth, do you think Usyk would have closed the show and knocked him out in round 12?
The thing is, I do. I think he would have. I think the way that fight was going, Rico was slowing down. He was getting hit a lot more, even from the 10th round. You know, he got stopped in the 11th, but he was getting hit more in the 10th round. The 11th round was getting worse. And in the 12th round, there is nobody worse. I'm convinced on this planet right now, there is nobody worse to have you walking down in the 12th round than Usyk, right? If Usyk's walking down in the 12th round, like, he's probably getting you out of there. Especially, like I said, Rico was tired, getting hit more. I reckon he probably would have, but that doesn't mean the referee stoppage was a good stoppage. It was still a bad stoppage. But I do think Usyk would have got him out of there in the 12th round.
My opinion, I don't think he would have. I think what Rico showed is he's got ring IQ, he's got craft, he's got the dark art, and obviously, like, Peter Fury is a fucking great coach, an amazing coach, yeah. I think Peter Fury would have motivated him, he would have told him a few things to do, and I think he would have gone out in that 12th round and either survived the round and he wouldn't have gone down again. And I think Usyk was under pressure. Say that they went into that last round. Usyk knows in his mind, I have to get a knockout to win. So he would have been having to go for it. I think that Rico, he might have lost the round, but I don't think Usyk would have knocked him out in that 12th round. And it could have been a very, very different result on the night. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, I hear it. But don't you think, man, Usyk, like, if you've got someone as good as Usyk, desperate to knock you out, I think he's knocking you out. I think he's that good. But it wasn't a great performance from him. It's hard to say that we think he's that good because he had a really bad night, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I
think it's just, I know what you're saying, like, if you want to knock him out, but it's just like, I just feel that Rico would have got a second win, 12th round, and like, where he would have think, I'm on top. If I just get through this last round, I'm winning it. He would have tied Usyk up, just made it messy, spat his gum shield out. He would have done anything, started headbutting him. That Rico's a smart guy. He would have got through that 12th round. I do believe that. He wouldn't have let, and then Usyk would have got more frustrated. And like, I don't believe that. I would have think it would have gone completely different. However, the scorecards in round 11 was one had Rico ahead by a round, and then one had Usyk ahead by a round, and the other guy had it a draw. So he might still have lost anyway, even if he'd have gone through to the last round. So I see how what you're saying about it wasn't as clean cut as everyone thinks, because Rico did so good, everyone was just like blinded, like wow. So it looked better. So I'll probably need to watch it again.
And all of you people in Britain, please
Watch us in
At Boxing Bros UK.